Hi, welcome to a new episode of the Explained series here at Dee's Psych Lab. Today we will be looking at statistical significance, what it is, why it is important, and how it differs from practical significance. So let's get started. Statistical significance in psychology refers to the likelihood that a result found in a research study is not due to chance. In other words, it is the probability that the results obtained are meaningful and not just a coincidence. Psychologists use statistical tests to determine whether the difference between groups, such as a treatment group and a control group, is large enough to be considered significant or whether it could have occurred by chance alone. If a result is statistically significant, it means that it is unlikely to have occurred by chance alone and is likely due to the variables being studied. This is an important concept in psychological research, as it helps researchers determine whether their findings are reliable and can be generalized to a larger population. When researchers conduct a study, they use statistical tests to determine whether the difference between groups is large enough to be considered significant or whether it could have occurred by chance alone. One common way of determining statistical significance is through the use of a p-value. The p-value is a measure of the probability that the observed difference between two groups is due to chance alone. A p-value of less than 0.05 is typically considered statistically significant, which means that there is less than a 5% chance that the observed difference between two groups occurred by chance. In other words, there is a 95% chance that the relationship is real and not just a fluke. However, it is important to note that statistical significance alone does not necessarily indicate that the results of a study are meaningful in the real world. Researchers also need to consider the effect size, which measures the magnitude of the difference between two groups in a standardized way. A small difference between two groups may be statistically significant but may not be meaningful in practice, while a large difference may be both statistically significant and meaningful. For example, let's say that a study finds that a new medication reduces symptoms of depression compared to a placebo with a statistically significant p-value of 0.01. However, the effect size is only 0.2, which is considered small. This means that while the medication does have a statistically significant effect, it may not be clinically meaningful or worth pursuing as a treatment option. On the other hand, if the same study found a large effect size of 0.8, this would suggest that the medication has a significant and meaningful effect on reducing depression symptoms. Here is another example. Let's say a researcher is conducting a study to examine the relationship between daily exercise and body weight in a sample of 100 participants. The researcher measures participants' weight at the beginning of the study and again after 12 weeks of daily exercise. The null hypothesis is that there is no significant difference in weight between the beginning and end of the study. After analyzing the data, the researcher finds that the average weight of participants decreased by 10 pounds after 12 weeks of daily exercise. However, the p-value of the statistical test is 0.1, which is not statistically significant at the commonly used level of 0.05. Despite the non-significant p-value, the effect size is large, with a Cohen's d of 0.7. This indicates that the difference in weight before and after the study is large and meaningful. The researcher may conclude that while the p-value is not significant, there is still evidence to support the effectiveness of daily exercise in reducing body weight. In this example, the large effect size suggests that daily exercise has a significant impact on weight loss, even though the statistical test did not reach significance. This highlights the importance of considering effect size when interpreting research findings, as it can provide valuable information about the practical significance of a study's results. Here are several reasons why the above example may have yielded a non-significant p-value despite a large effect size. Here are a few possible explanations. Small sample size. In the example, the sample size is only 100 participants. It is possible that a larger sample size would have yielded a statistically significant result. Measurement error. There is always some degree of measurement error in any study, which can obscure the true relationship between variables. In this example, it is possible that the weight measurements were not completely accurate, which could have contributed to a non-significant result. Variability in the data. In any study, there will be some degree of variability in the data, even if the overall effect size is large. It is possible that, in this example, the variability in the data was too high to detect a statistically significant result. Confounding variables. It is possible that there were other factors that influenced weight loss in the participants, such as diet, stress levels, or medication use. If these factors were not controlled for in the study design, they could have influenced the results and contributed to a non-significant finding. Type 2 error. It is possible that the non-significant result is simply a false negative or a type 2 error. This means that there truly is a significant effect of daily exercise on weight loss, but the study was not able to detect it due to limitations in the study design or statistical power. Finally, it could be that there simply is no significant relationship between the variables of interest. There are many factors that can contribute to non-significant findings in a research study. Even when the effect size is large, it is important to carefully consider all of these factors when interpreting research results and drawing conclusions about the relationship between variables. In summary, statistical significance is an important concept in psychology as it helps researchers determine whether their findings are reliable and can be generalized to a larger population. However, it is not the only factor to consider when evaluating the real-world implications of research findings. Effect size, along with other factors such as practical significance, cost, effectiveness, and safety, are also important considerations when assessing the potential impact of a research finding in the real world. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends and peers. It might help them greatly. This will help create more awesome content. Check out the other episodes to learn more about psychological and statistical concepts and theories to help you on your learning journey.